One of the most important things that a leader in any organization, in a community, in a country, the most important thing they do is create unity. Common purpose and unity are very closely connected, aren't they? Common purpose helps create unity, but we have to think about the process of creating unity and what it is, what the meaning of it is. I don't think there's anything more important in an organization than unity. Every general of every army has understood this. Do you know that when Alexander the Great, and if you read about Alexander the Great, you will know that he was in fact great. What was great about Alexander when Alexander is the Great? His main nemesis was Persia. That was if there was East and West, as in the current world. The East and the West then was Greece and Persia. And when he conquered Persia, you know what he did? He performed the marriage of 1,000 Greek men to 1,000 Persian women. Why do you think he did that? He wore Persian dress. He brought the best general of the Persian army and made them generals in his army. What was he doing? He was creating unity. That's what Alexander did. That's why Alexander conquered. It is one of the reasons he conquered. And as you know, when Alexander died, they said there was the empire he had created. An empire, the empire of Alexander. But you know, the moment he died, it fell apart. It disintegrated because there wasn't a constitution. There wasn't a common purpose. There wasn't well-defined principle, values, ethic, virtue by which everybody agreed to live. It was just centered around the personality of Alexander rather than around common principle. But his empire was strong and was conquering as long as it was unified. You can think about unity in circles. And you know how I love to mix diagrams. It helps me think. And I think there is internal unity. I think there is unity within the self. And then I think we are numbers of teams or families, small groups, and there is unity or disunities. Within those, to the degree that there is unity in a family. For example, mom and dad and the kids are acting on common principle, things go well. When mom and dad have different ideas about what is right and wrong, they drive the kids crazy. Kids don't do well in a family where the parents are divided, are disunified. So unity in a family produces healthy children. Disunity produces unhealthy children. And the same is true in larger group, in an organization. In your corporation, is your corporation unified? I know you inevitably have separate units within an organization. You have engineering and research and development, and manufacturing and sales and marketing. It is the sort of the normal breakdown of any organization. But are they unified in their processes? Are they unified in their purpose? Or are they unified in their goals? And it is not common in organizations where they are not unified. It is an enormous cause of waste in organizations where R&D and engineering are not unified, are not communicating well, are not acting on the same purpose and principle as the manufacturing in the sales and marketing organization. The job of the leaders, the reason you have a level of management above those three separate functions is to create unity among them. Right is to have them operating on common processes and common principle and purpose. So it is what leaders do is create unity in the organization. Every general knows that if his army is unified in their plan, unified in their purpose, they are more likely to win. If they are disunified, they are very likely to lose. That's true on an athletic team as well. And it's true on your team as well. And the same for the unity in a country. Let's look at India's society structure. India has had a class system. Many countries have had class system to some degree. And those class systems, you can think of them as sort of horizontal versus vertical forms of disunity. And they are a form of waste because they inhibit the development of human talent and human capabilities. And a society and a corporation rob itself when there is an apparent class system that people don't feel like their talents and abilities are going to be used and can grow and develop in an organization. That is one of the dysfunction of disunity. Now, when you think about unity in the country, what does that mean? Well, I think we have a spiritual self. We have a noble, worthy thinking about high motive and purpose self. And then we have a social self. We have who we hang out with, right? Are those united, or are those in some way function in different realms? It is one of the things, again, come back to children, the teenagers. They are hanging out with kids that have the same spiritual values. Because if you don't, that's a big danger sign. There's the material self, what we acquire. And then there is the intellectual, the functioning of our mind. And those are, I am sure there are other ways you can divide up the human self. But those are at least 4 ways you can think about different parts of our characters, different parts of our being, and the degree to which they are all focused in the same direction. They are united on common purpose. They tend to be united, and we are likely to accomplish more if we are united within ourselves. So there is unity in the self, and then there is unity in the organization. And what does that mean in a corporate, especially for companies in manufacturing business? Everybody wear the same uniform. Why? They all call associates. The president of the company call himself an associate himself. The president call himself an associate as the newly hired employee. It's also called an associate. For Toyota, they all wear the same white smock with Toyota in their name over here. Why is that? To create something in common and unity ultimately. And that in many corporations, the size of your office, the proximity to the CEO, what floor you are on, whether you are in a corner office or not, how many windows you have, all that nonsense implies class. To distinguish one by class, and that class is a form of separating one from another. It is a form of disunity. And you have to ask what function that serves, or does it create a dysfunction in the organization? And I would argue that it creates a dysfunction in the organization. Just like if in a country you have a class system and certain people feel unappreciated, undervalued, unable to move up, unable to be heard, that all robs the society of talents and ability and innovation and creativity and enterprise. Well, the same happens within a corporation. So let's not replicate class system to the degree possible. And the more life becomes complex, the more an organization becomes complex, the more there is the need for leaders to deliberately assert the need for unity. Because the natural cause is for things to fall apart in complexity and things to become disconnected, disunified. And all that creates waste and dysfunctions. You have diverse as you grow bigger. You disintegrate and you have to integrate the ideas from various people. You have to integrate the feelings of affiliation, of belonging to, and that's what democracy does. Democracy gives people a voice, right? That's what it is about. So you have to give a voice in order to integrate. In a corporation, there are these different subsystems that made up the whole system of the organization. There is a structure, and structures can either create unity or disunity. There are systems of information flow and reward system and human resource management system, and all of those systems are capable of creating disunity, or they are capable of creating unity. There's a style of communication. There are stories. There are legends in a civilization, a countries, and a corporation. And I want you to think about, well, what are the stories that tell us who we are as a company, that define our culture? What are those stories? We have to think about those who have to make the story happen. We have to make people aware of the story that bind us together as a unified organization. What symbols unite us as an organization? I'm not saying everybody should wear uniform, but they are symbols, you know. Why do we have a flag? Why do we have a company hat or a baseball hat or whatever? What are the symbols? What skill? What common skill or common competency do we have together? So all of those things can either cause unity or disunity in the organization. And I think they have to be deliberately designed in order to create unity. Our job as leader is to unify strength through unity. This is a law of all human endeavor.